It's been 4 months. It's been a necessary time and an opportunity for me to step away a little bit and put a little bit of thought and reflection into going forward and how to best prioritize things.
The world turned its back on Phil Mickelson, but now he's turning back toward it. After the chaos of LIV Golf and years of silence, his new announcement has sparked one question across the sport. Is Lefty ready to come home? Today, I'll reveal how golf's outcast became its wild card again. Stick around. Lefty ascends. Phil Mickelson's story has always been golf's favorite fairy tale, until it wasn't. Before he became the face of controversy, Lefty was the man who could do no wrong. Born in sunny San Diego in 1970, Mickelson was the prodigy who made golf cool before it was ever TikTok trendy. By the time he strutted out of Arizona State University, 3 NCAA titles richer and a handshake away from the pros, he already had a crowd of believers ready to scream his name. The year 1992 wasn't just his debut, it was the birth of the PGA Tour's most theatrical showman. Mickelson wasn't merely playing golf, he was performing it. Every shot was a gamble, every putt a dare. He was charming, unpredictable, and absurdly good.
Breaking news in golf, Phil Mickelson is indeed signing up with LIV Golf and will play in the inaugural event beginning this Thursday in London. Now, he has not played since February when he got in hot water over his comments about Saudi Arabia, which is backing this new tour, and also comments about the PGA Tour. He did not play in the Masters. He did not play in the PGA Championship. The U.S. Open, which is the one major Phil has yet to win, is next week. But Lefty now.
The early 2000s saw Mickelson ascend into golfing sainthood. That 18-foot birdie at the 2004 Masters? Pure movie magic. The grin, the leap, the crowd's eruption. Lefty's legend was sealed, a golfer with charisma so magnetic that even his mistakes seemed intentional, part of the show. He followed with majors in 2005, 2006, and 2010, and by the time he hoisted the 2013 Open Championship trophy at Muirfield, fans and critics agreed. Phil wasn't just great, he was inevitable. Yet behind the polished smile and gallery waves, there were whispers. Whispers of debts, of gambling tables, of the impulsive streak that made him both thrilling and dangerous. When he won the 2021 PGA Championship at age 50, the oldest major winner in golf history, Mickelson wasn't defying time, he was mocking it. But as confetti fell, frustration brewed. He called out the PGA's obnoxious greed, grumbled about player treatment, and hinted at something bigger coming. Retirement? Reinvention? Revolution? The world didn't know yet, but one thing was certain. Lefty wasn't done swinging. The Golden Boy had seen too much. And soon, he'd take the boldest shot of his life. Defection shock. June 2022 felt less like a golf tournament and more like a detonation. Phil Mickelson, the eternal showman, the people's golfer, had just pulled off his most polarizing move yet. In one calm, cryptic tweet, he wrote, "Grateful for the past, excited for the future." Translation? He was leaving the PGA Tour for LIV Golf, the Saudi-backed league dripping with cash, controversy, and promises of revolution. The $200 million price tag wasn't just a payday, it was a declaration of war on golf's establishment.
This is some of what Phil Mickelson had to say in a statement today. "I am thrilled to begin with LIV Golf and appreciate everyone involved. I also intend to play the majors. I fully realize and respect some may disagree with this decision and have strong opinions, and I empathize with that. I have a renewed spirit and excitement for the game. I am incredibly grateful for the support of my fans, partners, friends, and peers, and hope in time those sentiments, relationships, and support continue."
Mickelson had simmered for years under PGA rules he called obnoxiously greedy. The tour, in his eyes, wasn't a sanctuary for players, it was a monopoly. So when LIV came calling with oil-soaked billions and an offer to rewrite the sport's script, Phil didn't just accept, he became its prophet. "I've seen the good and the bad," he said, justifying his leap as a move toward progress. Critics called it hypocrisy, Phil called it evolution. LIV wasn't golf, it was golf remixed. 54 holes, team play, no cuts, and shotgun starts. Add some EDM, guaranteed money, and a global stage, and it was less Augusta, more Coachella with wedges. The PGA wasn't amused. Commissioner Jay Monahan suspended defectors in a trembling statement that oozed betrayal. Sponsors bolted, KPMG, Callaway, Amstel Light, scrambling to salvage their corporate morality. Twitter erupted with fury, memes, and moral outrage. Yet, amid the chaos, Phil looked, of all things, relieved. His first LIV appearance in London drew massive crowds, the cheers drowning out the critics. He tied for second, smiling like a man who just bet the house and drawn an ace. "This is about creating a better product," he told reporters, calm and defiant. Maybe it was rebellion, maybe reinvention. Either way, golf's golden sun had turned outlaw, and the sport would never look the same. Backlash Inferno. Then came the firestorm, swift, scorching, and utterly merciless. The same fans who once chanted "lefty" with love now spat the word like venom. "Sell out," they jeered. "Saudi shill." Phil Mickelson, golf's mischievous darling, had been recast overnight as its villain. The internet turned into an execution chamber. Memes of him standing atop oil rigs, photoshopped dollar signs in his eyes, trending daily. ESPN ran moral autopsies. Late-night hosts cracked jokes. Every column dripped with disgust and disbelief. How could golf's most relatable star become its most hated man?
That's difficult, and the model that is on LIV is what is needed to be successful. We saw it even on last week's signature event. Players will do what's good for them and not necessarily play unless they are contractually obligated, just like in the NFL and baseball and every other professional sport. And that model, as it's brought to LIV, is allowing us to move throughout the world and make professional golf a global sport. And
the backlash reached fever pitch at the 2022 US Open. Once adored, Mickelson now trudged through a chorus of boos so loud they drowned out his drives. For a man who had lived off crowd energy, the silence between jeers was deafening. "It hurts," he confessed, voice trembling in a post-round interview. "It hurts to lose relationships built over decades." That vulnerability barely landed. The mob had already chosen its villain. Then came the death threats, the vandalism, the sponsors pulling out in waves. KPMG, Callaway, Amstel Light, all gone. The PGA loyalists framed him as a symbol of greed, while protesters outside LIV events waved blood money signs. Yet, beneath the outrage, the truth was more complicated. Mickelson wasn't the only defector, just the loudest, the boldest, the easiest to target. By late 2022, he tried to mend fences. "My words were poorly chosen," he admitted. But the internet doesn't forgive. It archives. His apology became another meme, another punchline. And still, there he was, grinning through the storm. Maybe bruised, maybe scarred, but unmistakably alive. For all his flaws, Phil never faded into the background. He thrived in the chaos, feeding off the noise. The villain's cloak? He didn't just wear it, he tailored it himself, in signature lefty flair. Defiant vision. If the world wanted a villain, Phil Mickelson delivered one with a grin and a driver. "LIV is the future," he barked on the Full Send podcast, voice charged with defiance. Outrage wasn't a deterrent, it was fuel. Joining High Flyers GC, Mickelson became not just a captain, but a missionary for golf's loudest rebellion. Shotgun starts, million-dollar purses, champagne-soaked podiums. It was golf rebranded as entertainment, and Phil was its ringleader. The PGA could keep its etiquette. Phil wanted fireworks. LIV wasn't country clubs and khakis anymore. It was sneakers, trap beats, and team logos. As critics fumed, Mickelson's charisma evolved from charm to challenge. He spoke passionately about innovation, family time, and making golf fun again. It was rebellion with a smile, revolution in a polo shirt. By 2024, he'd transformed into LIV's silver-haired statesman, demanding world ranking points and trolling the PGA's bureaucracy with surgical precision. When Rory McIlroy took a swipe, Phil fired back with memes. "Hate the player, not the game," he tweeted. The internet rolled its eyes, but laughed anyway. Beneath the humor, though, cracks began to show. Old friendships had cooled. PGA allies stopped returning calls. Even at home, whispers of strain leaked into tabloids. But surrender? Not in Phil's vocabulary. "I believe in this," he told Fox News in April 2025, eyes blazing like a man chasing purpose through chaos. And chaos, as always, adored him back. LIV exploded across continents, from Adelaide's roaring crowds to Hong Kong's neon fairways. New fans poured in, global sponsors lined up, and Mickelson looked vindicated. Yet behind every cheer lingered a question. Was it victory or vanity? The joy looked real, but so did the exhaustion. Still, under the lights, Phil remained Phil, gambler, fighter, disruptor. Once he'd bet a birdie putt for glory. Now, he'd bet his legacy. And, as always, he seemed thrilled by the risk. Format reversal. November 4th, 2025. Irony landed with the weight of a golf ball through a window. LIV Golf, the brash upstart that had promised to rewrite the rules, announced its biggest reversal yet. Starting in 2026, it would abandon its 54-hole format for a traditional 72-hole setup. The league, literally named after 54, was now surrendering to the very structure it once mocked. CEO Scott O'Neill called it the natural evolution of the game, insisting it would strengthen competition and pave the way for official world ranking points. But fans and critics alike saw through the corporate gloss. This wasn't innovation, it was capitulation disguised as progress.
I think that LIV has made some incredible strides of getting to where we want this to be. And it will get there. I don't know the exact timeline. And that is, we want all the best players in the world to be able to compete against each other more often and on a global scale. And the model...
The reactions came fast. Jon Rahm celebrated the competitive upgrade. Bryson DeChambeau called it a win for the fans. Dustin Johnson gave his quiet nod of approval. But the silence that followed from Phil Mickelson was deafening. This was his idea, his movement. The 54-hole model had been his gospel, his proof that golf could be faster, flashier, freer. And now, in one boardroom announcement, it was gone. When reporters finally caught him, Phil's response was barely a whisper. "I'm honestly not sure." Just 4 words, but they carried the fatigue of 3 years of controversy. Fans replayed the clip endlessly, dissecting every blink, every pause. Was he disillusioned? Defeated? Or just tired of fighting a system that always found a way to win? Behind closed doors, murmurs grew louder. Was LIV caving to PGA pressure after all? Had the Rebel League realized that legitimacy still bowed to tradition? Mickelson, once the loudest voice in golf's revolution, now looked like its fading echo. As 2025 drew to a close, the image of Phil standing quietly at the edge of a press tent said it all. The man who built a bonfire under golf's establishment was watching his own flames flicker, not extinguished, but dimmed, leaving only smoke, silence, and the faint smell of surrender. Legal gambit. Just days after LIV's 72-hole bombshell, Phil Mickelson swung again, but this time, not with a club. On November 7, 2025, the man of 1,000 headlines dropped another one. In a fiery post on X, formerly Twitter, he announced he'd hired powerhouse attorney Tom Clare to sue Hunterbrook Media for defamation. The outlet had accused him of leaking insider information about Sable offshore stock, a charge Mickelson blasted as false and slanderous. His post wasn't just a denial, it was a declaration of war. "I'm done staying quiet when lines are crossed," he wrote, punctuation sharp as a club face. Classic Mickelson, defiant, dramatic, impossible to ignore. The timing couldn't have been more cinematic. While LIV Golf was busy backpedaling into PGA tradition, its original rebel was ramping up the chaos. The lawsuit instantly reignited every old controversy: his gambling debts, his whispered insider tips, his uneasy dance with truth and image. The court of public opinion reopened for business. Some fans cheered, "Fight back, Phil," while others rolled their eyes. "You made the mess, now live in it." Enter Tom Clare, the same courtroom heavyweight who defended Johnny Depp. Suddenly, the story had everything: celebrity, scandal, defamation, and drama. Analysts predicted it could cost Mickelson millions, but this wasn't about money. It was about control, about reclaiming a narrative that had long slipped through his fingers. "Living in the public eye makes me a target," he said, linking the smear to the years of fallout since joining LIV. The bravado was still there, but beneath it, the cracks showed. That haunting shrug from days earlier? I'm honestly not sure. Lingered like an aftertaste of doubt. And as 2025 draws its final breath, one truth remains. Phil Mickelson, golf's eternal gambler, is still all in. Whether this ends in redemption or ruin, no one stages a downfall quite like Lefty. The man who once defied gravity now duels with legacy, and even in defeat, he insists on making it a spectacle. And that's where Phil Mickelson stands, defiant, unpredictable, and utterly unbothered. He's no longer just a golfer, he's a symbol of everything unruly in modern sports. Pride, risk, and rebellion rolled into one smirking swing. Whether his lawsuit wins or fizzles, whether LIV thrives or folds, one thing's certain: Lefty will never go quietly. If you like this video, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. See you soon.